Guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are gonna finalize the LS swap here on the OBS. For the most part, as you can tell, everything's pretty much done outside here on the engine bay, and the harness, like I mentioned in the last video, goes in through there. Eliminated all the other wires we didn't need. I do have a 12 volt switch source coming through there, and then basically it's all hooked up. Now this is just a spare plug that came in the harness that the owner bought. This one and I believe this other one. So I think this one was for the EGR. We're not running EGR. And then this one's for the evap system, the little solenoid valve that sits right on top of the intake. We're not running that either. So these are spares, which I will tuck under this cover. So the cover cleans up a lot of the, wires and anything that's exposed. My temp sensor is already wired in. Like I mentioned, I had to get this little adapter. The LS harness came with a 2-pin. I cut that off and then added this 3-pin pigtail. It's a 3-wire now. And then my temp gauge wire is coming from the engine harness back there in, and I just added it through here and then did the loom there. So I have the fan on. That's what he's gonna run for now. Eventually he did say that he's gonna put E-fans in it. Kind of why this hose sits a little bit higher up. There's a bump here of the fan shroud. Transcoil was already done. Everything's good to go. And actually the truck does fire up already. Obviously it still needs a tune. One other thing too is the PCM that he brought me was not VATS deleted. So Leland lent me his PCM for now just to get it running, while the owner brings me a good PCM or a PCM that has a VATS delete to get it going again. I'm going to show you some of the wiring inside the truck here. So all these are just spare wires that came with the harness. E-fans, high and low wires. And then I do have a speed sensor wire, which is the black one on here. Where'd it go? Somewhere in here. I think I had cut it back a little bit, but oh no, here it is. I still need to cut this piece off and wrap it up. But this was supposed to be the speed sensor signal, and it did not work with this cluster. So I ended up just running a different way, and I'll show you right now. My TCC switch. This is the wire coming from the harness on this plug right here. This purple wire. There's 2 of them. There's one at the end, and then there's the 3rd wire in. That's where I plugged the TCC. So when you press right now with the brake depressed, it should have 12 volts going to it. When you press the brake, it turns off the 12 volt switch to it. So that worked out perfectly for the TCC brake switch. This is my MIL light, check engine light. Obviously it's gonna have a check engine light still because it needs to be tuned. It has headers, open headers right now. And also the PCM that I'm running, it's for a 6.0 4L80. Engine is 5.3 4L60. But it was just to get it running. So TCC, MIL light. Trying to see. Oh, my RPM tack. This wire is the wire that was going to the original harness on the 350. This one went to the coil. So I ended up cutting it at the engine and then routing the wire in to the firewall and to the LS harness for my RPM, which is this one. My oil pressure sensor, I did put a 3-pin sensor, and I don't know if the gauge is messed up or what, but I mean it does move a little bit, and it is reading because when I fired the truck up for the first time, it had the single pin sensor in it, and it would fire up for, I don't know, maybe a little bit less than a minute and then shut off. And then ever since I put the that 3-pin switch sensor in there, there's no issues with it now, because the oil pressure sensor has a wire, 2 trigger wires that go to the fuel pump relay. So I'm assuming that if it wasn't reading oil pressure, or the lead was just open, it was signaling or sending the signal to the relay to shut it off, and that's technically what it was. So I ended up getting the correct sensor, put it in, and it runs fine now, or it runs for a while and don't shut off. Now down here, I still have my tools down here, but PCM's unfortunately gonna have to sit down here for now. Here's where I tied into the speed sensor. My purple wire and green wire, these are from the OBS. So on the red connector from the 411 PCM, pin 21 and pin 20 are the high and low reference. So I did that there. Fuse box, I just mounted it right here. I mean, I think it's not really much in the way. And then my check engine light port, I put it right here. That way, whenever the tuner or even the owner wants to scan for any codes, it's right here. And it's just pretty much exposed and pretty easy just to go ahead and plug it in there. So here I'm just gonna go ahead and put this thing back on, but I'll do that off camera. And so going back to the harness, here is the little manual that it came with, and I even showed you how to do the E-fan and all that. But all the wires are marked, and it's pretty straightforward. Your MIL, your speedometer, your tach, your fan 1, fan 2. We did not use the neutral safety switch signal, because this truck does not have one and don't need it. The purple was the 12-volt TCC that we did use, and then what is referencing chassis ground is the grounds coming on the harness, and then the red wire is the ignition wire that I hooked up out there. And then it says multiple PCM connectors. Basically, that is the red and blue connector on the PCM down there. That's what it's saying, multiple wires. But yeah, it's pretty much done. Besides the PCM, on my end, everything's done. Filter's just gonna sit here how it is. I did have to cut the tabs off this intake that he brought to make it sit right. because the other way it was gonna hit the belt here. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and try to fire it up. It is pretty cold right now, so it might even have a little hard time starting. Well, we'll find out. All right, so we'll just give it a shot. Fire right up. Sounds healthy. It is running straight header right now until he gets the exhaust done. That's why it's pretty loud. You can tell there's my OBS still. Yes, I still have it. I gotta say that doing this swap has motivated me to get back on mine. I am going to hook up the scanner to see what codes it has. I'm sure it does have plenty of codes. Like I said, this PCM's not exactly for this setup, but it still fires it up because of VATs. Sounds good. I'm gonna go ahead and just shut it off and probably end the video, and we'll continue from there right now. All right, guys, so there you have it. She's all done, at least on my end. Obviously, like I said, it still needs to be tuned, and it's crazy how this thing just, it's nice how it just fires right up. The reliability on these engines are very great, and compared to the old 350 I had in here. But yeah, guys, so I'm gonna go ahead and just end the video there. I'm sorry if I kind of like just zoomed past certain details here, but if y'all have any questions, drop a comment, and I'll be happy to answer anybody's questions regarding the swap or anything that I used or any certain wires or anything like that. Just drop me a comment, and yeah, so that's pretty much it. It's a wrap.